think you may be muted.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
We can now, thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. This committee of Oversight and Reform, and I don't understand why we're now feeling compelled to oversee state governments and completely abdicate our responsibility with the federal government. And it's as if, and we've already considered HR 3755. So the old saying about putting the cart before the horse, this is actually, the horse is already in the barn. I don't see why we're having a hearing after the fact. And there's so many other things that we should be talking about, but I really had to take issue with my colleague with the questioning. I thought it was incredibly Bush League to ask a witness a question and cut the witness off after about 4 seconds. I wouldn't like it if a Republican member did that. So Dr. Scope, I would like to give you a chance to actually answer that question that you were asked a minute ago.
Yeah, I believe it was related to what I had written about my concerns about abortion in the Black community. And again, this is not my lived experience. I am not in any way trying to say that I understand the circumstances. But I do know, as I stated earlier, that 67% of Black children are born to unmarried mothers. We all know that poverty is much, much higher for an unmarried mother. And it's not unique to Black men. There are many men across the country who allow a woman the option of abortion, and if they choose to have the child, they let them be the single mother to raise the child. It's just the breakdown of the family, and I think we could probably chase this subject around all day, like what has happened that families don't stay together, but hopefully we can all acknowledge that for the sake of the children, having two parents in the home to help each other out and to model wise behavior for the children, and in many cases to bring in an income sufficient to keep the family out of poverty, are all things that I would think we would all aspire to. So the article that was quoted was just my attempt to explore some of these issues and how they might be linked to abortion. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm terribly concerned that Black women have a maternal mortality 3 times that of white women. I think there's a number of factors we could look at, including, again, poverty, genetic factors, lack of support. I mean, it's a very nuanced conversation, and I wish that people in the halls of power that had the ability to change things were able to look into some of these nuances and give some consideration to whether the policies that their particular party promotes are always in the best interest of women, children, families, men. But it's a big discussion, clearly.
Absolutely. Have you ever come across any kind of studies or that could shed light on what the African-American population of this country would be if there was an abortion in this country?
Well, I have seen a figure that probably 18 to 20 million Black babies have been aborted. Now, clearly, many of those, had they gone to term, I don't think we can say necessarily that would be the increase in the population, but I think that clearly we would have a much larger population if we were, if these children were being born.
Sure. Listen, in a perfect world, I would think and hope that everyone could agree that there wouldn't be abortion. I mean, I know that's hyperbolic, but that would be the way I want to go. And furthermore, just in the last few seconds that I have, I just simply wish that this committee would do more of what it's supposed to do. We have a crisis on the border, and we have the origins of COVID. Did it come out of a lab in China? All evidence points to it, other than a smoking gun, that it's not only the preponderance of the evidence, but beyond a shadow of a doubt that it probably did. This is exactly what this committee should be doing. And looking at the border, and by the way, if COVID's a threat, why do we let 1.5 million people that we don't know into the country? And they're not mandatory.
Gentleman's
They're not-
time.
Thank you, sir. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon.